This is a story about shooting your shot. In 1985, the filmmaker Jonathan Demme is in New York City and he's working on a music video. It's for Steven Van Zandt from Bruce Springsteen's band and later The Sopranos. He had done this song called Sun City, which was an anti-apartheid song, and Jonathan Demme was doing the music video. He was finishing up some work on it, and him and the producer of the song, Arthur Baker, they find themselves in the middle of a blizzard. So they hail a cab. The cab driver drops off Arthur Baker first, and then she just kind of casually asks Jonathan Demme, "Are you in the music business?" And Jonathan Demme has directed music videos. The year before, he had actually directed the Talking Heads concert film Stop Making Sense. He responded, not really. But the cab driver, who is a musician, puts on a copy of her band's demo tape anyway. And as they're driving through the New York City streets at night in the snowstorm, Jonathan Demme listens to the tape and says, "Oh my God, what is this and who are you?" The cab driver's name was Diane. She was born in 1960 in Neptune, New Jersey, and she had always loved music. She sang in the choir as a kid, and then she went on a class field trip to New York to see a Broadway show called Bubbling Brown Sugar. It was a show about the music of the Harlem Renaissance, and from then on, Diane knew that she wanted to be a singer. When she turned 18, she moved to New York, started a band, and tried to make it in the music business. But she found herself struggling. She had to do a bunch of different odd jobs to support herself, including driving a taxi. And when Jonathan Demme asked her why she didn't have a record deal already, she said that record labels had turned her away because of her dreadlocks, saying that they couldn't market someone that looked like her. But Jonathan Demme loves her music so much that he wants to use it in his movies. Starting with 1986's Something Wild, he uses a song called The Candle Goes Away. Then in 1988, for his movie Married to the Mob, he uses another one of her songs. Then a couple years later, Jonathan is working on a new movie. And there's a scene in particular that needs a song. It's a scene where the villain of the movie, this horrible serial killer, dances. And they're having trouble finding the right song. When they rehearsed it, they did it to this Bob Seger song called Her Strut. And they talked about, should it be a David Bowie song? Should it be a Rolling Stones song? And then finally, Jonathan Demme was like, you know what would be the perfect song? That song from Diane that we used in Married to the Mob. So they just take that same song that had been used in Married to the Mob, which Diane recorded under her alias Q Lazzarus, a song called Goodbye Horses, and used it in the new movie, Silence of the Lambs. Silence of the Lambs, of course, became an iconic movie, and that scene in particular was notorious. Everybody who saw the movie was asking the same question that Jonathan Demme had asked in Diane's cab. What is this, and who are you? And the song became an absolute classic. The scene has been parodied endlessly. A bunch of artists have covered that song. But unfortunately for Q Lazzarus, it didn't lead to her getting a major record deal. It didn't really launch her music career. Sometimes people refer to Q Lazzarus as a one-hit wonder, but if you want to get technical, she's actually a zero-hit wonder. The song is considered a hit because it was such an important part of this movie and everybody knows the song, but it never actually entered any Billboard charts. Even worse for Q Lazzarus is that she didn't write the song. The song was written by a band member in her band The Resurrection, a guy named William Garvey. So she doesn't even reap the same financial benefits she would get if she was the songwriter. In 1993, Jonathan Demme makes his next movie, Philadelphia, with Tom Hanks, and of course he uses Q Lazzarus on the soundtrack again, and this time he even puts her in the movie.
Could be so excited, could be so excited.
But only a couple years after that, in 1996, Q Lazzarus's band breaks up, and Q disappears. For decades, nobody knows what happened to her. As the years go by and more people are wondering whatever happened to Q Lazzarus, people try to hunt her down. People try to solve the mystery. Finally, after years and years, it's revealed that she's working as a bus driver in Staten Island. She had retired from singing, she had had a family, and she told everybody, I wasn't hiding. Tons and tons of people see me when they get on my bus every day. When Uber came around, she worked as a driver for them too. And essentially, she spent the rest of her life driving. Q unfortunately passed away in August of 2022. There's a filmmaker who's working on a documentary of her life, a filmmaker who met Q, ironically enough, when Q was her driver. Q Lazzarus may have never had the career in the music industry that she deserved, but she's an iconic part of both movie and music history.
All things pass into the night.